will begin with that breaking news of a major update in the case of Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie. Right now, officials are asking for help finding the writer of these two ransom notes. Sheriffs say that the two notes came within a few days after the 84-year-old was taken from her home. The first is addressed directly to Savannah Guthrie, saying that Nancy was alive but scared and then demanded Bitcoin. But that second letter that came through claimed Guthrie had died and her abductors never wanted to hurt her. The release of these letters comes as today marks 6 months since Guthrie's disappearance was reported. Her family is not giving up in the search for answers. Savannah Guthrie releasing an emotional new plea overnight, imploring someone to come forward with information on her mother's disappearance, saying in part, quote, "We are begging for help. We are desperate. We need someone to come forward. Someone knows something. Someone suspects something." Today's message comes after this video posted to Instagram this week.
Our family is in agony. We are in a nightmare that will not end. Nothing about our situation has changed. We have done our part, and we will never stop looking for her. We will always ache for her and feel that hole in our hearts. I'm asking you, begging you, to do the right thing now. Make the right choice. Help us find her. Tell us where to look for her.
Guthrie was first reported missing from her home just outside of Tucson, Arizona, back on February 1st after she didn't show up to church. Investigators later discovered her doorbell camera had been disconnected overnight and that her pacemaker app also lost connection shortly after. Soon, investigators found traces of Guthrie's blood outside of her front door. And then on February 10th, the FBI released surveillance images and video showing a masked man wearing a backpack and gloves tampering with Guthrie's door camera. We all remember this. The FBI still searching for a male suspect with an average build who is approximately 5'9" or 5'10". Investigators hoping for a break in the case after finding a pair of black gloves while searching an area about 1.5 miles from Guthrie's home. Those gloves appearing to match those worn by the suspect seen tampering with that camera. But they were tested for DNA, and the gloves were discovered to have been thrown out by a local restaurant worker with no connection to Guthrie's kidnapping. Another frustrating dead end. Over the past 6 months, investigative teams and canine units have searched the property and area surrounding Nancy Guthrie's home, but still no clues have led to her whereabouts that we know of. Still, the Pima County Sheriff says this is not a cold case yet.
We have so much DNA to sort through. We have so much in terms of video evidence to look at. So I'm still positive that we're going to resolve this case.
The Guthrie family has been fully cleared as suspects and is offering a $1 million reward for information leading to the whereabouts of Nancy. Savannah Guthrie says that they will never stop searching for their mother. And here with us now to discuss Michael Gould. He's a founding member of the NYPD K-9 Unit and former commanding officer of the Nassau County Police Department K-9 Unit, who has a lot of expertise in searches, especially using canines, which were used in this case. Good to see you, Michael.
Thank you, Laura. Thanks for having me.
All right. So I do want to talk about the canines, but let's just talk about the news of the day, because yesterday was a big moment when we got these notes, investigators releasing these two notes. And we had heard about them before. People have read them to us, people who had seen them. But now we're seeing them for ourselves. And that's important. And that's what investigators are hoping for, that when we all read it line by line, they're hoping that people will notice the way it's written and the wording that was used. What are they hoping people will see? How do you read this in your investigative mind?
Right. So sadly, Laura, my prediction of these events have not changed since the first 48 hours. I predicted, sadly, that Nancy would have been deceased pretty close to the time of an abduction. I never felt this was a legitimate kidnapping. Kidnappings of 84-year-old people represent less than 1% of kidnappings in the country. And of those less than 1%, it's usually domestic family members arguing over the welfare of a grandparent or a mother. So nothing has changed to support that. As far as the ransom notes, I always felt early on it was AI driven by the way it was worded. My hope is by the second one is that it might be a family member, girlfriend, wife, who now knows who the person is and is a little bit now compassionate, wants to convince them. That's my hope. Everything I will be saying is complete speculation, and that's all everybody's been doing. So
Right.
yeah, right.
Well, and let's talk about some of the language, because one of the letters said, quote, "We did not fully grasp the seriousness of her physical condition. We never intended to hurt her. That was not our intention. She perished shortly after she was taken." That word perished, that's not something people use every day. It goes on to say that she is buried in nature, also another phrase that not a lot of people use. So as we take a look at what's being done to sort through the land surrounding this community at this point, and we take a look at the wording of these notes, I mean, that they're hoping, investigators hope, you know, I heard somebody say, you know, buried in nature once. You know, is that the idea, first of all, of the language? And then I also know that you have been out to this area, and it's unforgiving. You know, our Brian Enton, who's been out, was out there for months and months, showed us so many times just how incredibly unforgiving this land is. So I want to talk to you about the language and the land.
Right. So again, from the beginning, my thoughts always was that the person that committed this act has severe mental illness, like Mark David Chapman, John Hinckley, or most recently Rob Reiner. You can be delusional and schizophrenic and still be functional. You can plan things. So when I saw the porch video, the first thing I thought of, the only thing that person is missing is a tinfoil hat to suggest some level of mental illness, and his actions, picking up weeds. Secondly, as you said, it is unforgiving. So her remains have to be in nature because Tucson is 95% nature. I drove from her house to Nogales, Mexico. Within 5 minutes, you are in a vast desert environment, hot, as you said, unforgiving. So I mean, it's in law enforcement, we have to use logic and probability. So it's extremely probable that being abducted in Tucson, she's going to be found in nature. There is no solid proof of life evidence at all, other than what they said in this most recent note.
Yeah, and real quick before I let you go, one thing that happened yesterday, our Brian Enton and Libby Dean confirmed with their sources. You'll remember that, and if we can put it up on the screen, that we saw one image of this suspect without the gun in front, and then we, of course, saw the video of him tinkering around with the front doorbell with the weeds. And those sources told our Brian and Libby that they believe that they were, in fact, on 2 different days. So that would tell us about a stakeout. And one of the notes included details about how the Guthrie scene was left after the abduction, mentioning her smartwatch on her bedroom floor and a broken light in the backyard. So as you take a look at that, and now knowing that this was, in fact, you know, 2 different days, that there was somebody lurking around, which is just absolutely terrifying to think of this person, this suspect, possibly being there, you know, looking through windows and watching Nancy before this person took her. If it's the same person. You know, what do you make of that, that in fact it was 2 different days, some of these images?
Right. So factually, it doesn't change my opinion that suggesting some type of obsession or schizophrenic person planning and checking and so forth. As far as the evidence at the crime scene, you know, and again, I've been critical of Sheriff Nanos from the beginning. I still am. He has these little one-off information. God knows how much information he's leaked. He had already said early on that the crime scene was a mess inside the house. He revealed that. So if he would just get a regular press conference with a professional public information officer to clear these things up, he just continues to give ambiguous, conflicting things that don't add up. What is the evidence? So he should be much more forthcoming. He never has, and it frankly frustrates me to no end.
Yeah, Michael, and to your point, later on in the show, in the 11 a.m. hour, we're going to have on Cheryl McCollum, CSI, and I've interviewed her a lot on this case. I look forward to talking to her, and Bob Krieger, who used to work at the Pima County Sheriff's Office. He was a lieutenant. We're going to have both of them on to discuss this. And just lastly, really quick, Cheryl.